This is Cora Dive, bringing you another reading of Mythology. Today, we bring you the death of Balder. Let's begin. The 8 hooves of Sleipnir thundered through the night. His rider, Odin, spurred him on faster. The god had ridden for 3 days and nights on a great mission of haste. For a week, his son Balder had suffered terrible nightmares, visions of death. Frigga, Balder's mother, was frightened for his safety. She had begged Odin to seek for answers in a place where few were brave enough to venture. The night was already black, but it somehow grew darker, and whatever warmth that there was in the air fled. The landscape had become nothing but ice and mist. Odin reined up his steed. We are very near the land of the dead. A pair of glowing eyes appeared in the gloom behind Odin, and the stench of blood filled his nose. Run, run swiftly, Sleipnir. Yah! The steed galloped forward again with the monstrous beast in pursuit. It was Garm, the guard dog of the dead. Back, beast! Leave us in peace! Garm was no match for the swift legs of Sleipnir, and soon it gave up the chase. Odin slowed the steed to a trot. Now we've passed into Niflheim. A chilling fog covered the ground. Faint cries of pain lifted from it. The gasping breaths of the dead trapped beneath. Odin dismounted, pulled his blue traveling cloak closer about him, and moved forward through the mist. Little ghostly wisps rose from it and clutched at him as he passed by. Ahead, a mound of earth stood out like an island in the fog. Looks like a grave. Now for the runes. Odin raised his arms above the earth mound and uttered the rune of awakening. Awaken, evil one. I summon you. The mound shuddered, and a hideous specter floated up from the grave. In life, it had been a giantess. Who awakens me from my sleep? I am Vegstum the Wanderer. I need answers, and you are the only one who can give them to me. For centuries, I studied the hidden arts of magic in Jotunheim. My knowledge allowed me to give birth to the 3 most fearsome creatures ever seen upon the earth. Many came seeking my knowledge, but even I could not escape death. And now, even here among the frozen dead, I am not free from stupid questions. Your will is no longer your own. I will ask, you will answer. You have no choice. Listen, the world keeps changing. New evils are being born every day. Tell me why. I will speak only because you compel me to. Ragnarok is approaching, and the gods will finally meet their end. I have done my part to bring that about, but something that has never happened before is about to happen, and it will change the rules of everything. What do you mean? I am answering because you have compelled me. Look there into the distance, into the hall of Hela. A ghostly hall appeared in the distance. Its walls and roof were built from bones. Shreds of banners were hung from its rafters, and bony servants were laying a huge feasting table with cold, empty plates. The dead prepare for a special guest. Who are they preparing this for? The spirit twisted, writhing against his command. Answer me. I answer because you have compared me. The son of Frigga. The son of Frigga will soon be joining us here. No. Balder, the son of Odin, will soon die and be confined to Niflheim. These words seized Odin by the throat. Balder, Niflheim? Couldn't be. Impossible. No god should come here. Who should send him here? The giantess spirit grimaced and twisted. You ask too much, but I must answer. One of the gods themselves will send him here. Loki is no longer among the gods. Loki will raise no hand against Balder, but I have already said too much. You will say as much as I demand, giantess. Oh, that is where you are wrong, Odin. For now I see that is who you are. I will speak no more. Send me back to my grave and leave me in peace. Your son is doomed. You are doomed. And I see that you are the spirit of that giantess witch who gave birth to Fenrir. I gladly send you back to the utter darkness. Go. Go back to your frigid grave forever. Odin swiped his staff through the floating spirit, and it dissipated. I will rise again, foolish god, when the day of doom comes. Odin quickly returned to Asgard, his heart even more troubled than before. He reported all that he had heard from the giantess to Frigga. I knew it. I knew it. You told me Balder was just having bad dreams. I've always feared for his life ever since he was born, and now I know why. But what creature on earth would ever want to harm Balder? Even the giants love and respect him. The spirit said it would be one of the gods. One of the gods? Loki. I knew it. No. He said Loki would not raise his hand against Balder. Then who? Who would drive me insane with worry? And put it out of your mind. We received this message from a giantess witch. We can hope that she was mistaken with her information. But what if she wasn't? Oh, there are so many ways for him to die: by fire, by poison, by steel, by rock. You would be better off to forget this whole thing. I'm through listening to you, Odin. You told me I was just overreacting. Well, now I know the truth. Someone's trying to murder my beloved son. But I will stop it, somehow. Your judgment is clouded by your fear. What will you do? Will you make every being in creation swear not to harm Balder? Frigga's eyes opened wide. That's it. By the gods, men, dwarves, giants, and elves must all swear. And not just living beings, everything, every substance that could possibly harm him. Rock, iron, fire, water, pestilence, all will swear not to harm my darling Balder. This is futile. Frigga summoned her servant, Hermod, to expound her plan. Hermod, quickly, round up all the other servants. You must go to every single thing on the earth, animal, vegetable, mineral, and make it swear that it will never harm my Balder. Can plants and stones even speak? Of course! Don't be stupid. I will show you the necessary runes. They will swear, or they will face the wrath of the gods. Now, go, and be swift, or you will be whipped. The queen's servants departed from Asgard, going in all different directions, into all different worlds. Some went to the dwarfs, others went to the elves and the giants. Servants went to every type of rock and uttered the speaking rune over them. We will not harm Balder. They went to the deep waters of the world. We will not drag Balder under or steal his life breath from him. They went to every plant that sprang from the ground. We will not do nothing to poison Balder, the beloved god. As the servants reported back, Frigga greeted them eagerly. What news? What news? Everything is swearing an oath, my queen. We have gone into all the 9 worlds. Perfect. My plan is nearly complete. Now, there is nothing under the sun that can harm my Balder. Wait a minute. Did you go to the sun and moon as well? I did. Their chariots are speedy, but I was able to catch them. They promised never to harm Balder, and then laughed at such a foolish question. Ugh, it is a foolish question when you think about it, isn't it? Who would want to harm Balder? Maybe this is all in my head. Just then, Balder himself entered the queen's chambers. Frigga smiled broadly and held her hand out to him. Darling, how I've missed you. But mother, you saw me this morning. So I did. So I did. What is all this hubbub about Asgard? Something about an oath connected to me? I hope I didn't cause trouble by mentioning my dreams to you and Nana, my lovely wife. Of course not. It was no trouble at all. I just sent my servants to every corner of the world tree, asking all things to swear that they would never harm you, not even one of the glorious hairs on your handsome head. Oh, wait a minute. Hermod, did we ask hair? Balder could choke on a hair. Yes, my lady. Hair, toenails, belly button, lint, everything. Am I in danger? Of course not, sweetie. These are just some extra precautions. You can never be too careful, you know. But let me tell you something truly exciting. As soon as this task is completed, I'm planning to have a magnificent celebration for you. Like a birthday? Exactly! What a smart boy! I will send my servants out with an open invitation to everything under the sun. Oh. Now, why don't you go back to your room, bolt the door, and get under the bed, just to be extra safe? Frigga shoved her confused son out the door and turned to Hermod once again. Now for our celebration. I heard you, but you want invitations sent to everything? Even toe jam and pond scum? Of course, everything is invited, even giants. I have nothing to worry about now. That is, if you're positive that everything has taken the oath. Hermod hastily surveyed his scroll. There is a small plant growing on the trees near the gates of Asgard that we did not ask. Something called mistletoe? Is that it? Never mind that plant. What harm could it do? Now, prepare for the guests. There'll be dwarves and giants coming, so hide the good silverware. Yes, my queen. Balder's face once again poked into Frigga's chamber. Darling, shouldn't you be under your bed? I'm so sorry to disobey, Mother, but I thought since I'm having a birthday, shouldn't we invite Hoder as well? Frigga's face fell. Who is Hoder? He's my twin brother. Surely you've heard my mother mention Hoder. No, actually. That's enough, Hermod. You have a banquet to prepare. Hermod scurried off to fulfill his queen's command. Don't you like my idea, Mother? Frigga thought, well, dear, I don't think Hoder likes to socialize. I haven't seen him in years. He could have died for all we know. But his birthday is my birthday too. This isn't really a birthday party. I just said that because, well, never mind. Anything for my sweetie. I will invite Hoder if you insist. Now, you run along. Shoo. Frigga sighed. This was the last thing she needed. She stormed off in search of Hoder, her other son. It was not that Hoder was a secret. He was just a fact that many chose to forget. Few now remembered that Balder had been born with a blind, sickly brother. As Hoder had grown, his attitude became even worse than his health. He was of a foul and sullen temperament. To spare herself the embarrassment of his poor manners, Frigga had built him his own hall far away from the noble halls of the other gods. Hoder had not been objectionable to this arrangement. He spent his days indoors, alone, and grew together with the darkness around him, deep and forgotten. Hoder! Hoder! The queen pushed her way into Hoder's darkened hall. Dust flew in all directions. Hoder, are you here? Of course you are. Where else would you be? A voice spoke out of the darkness. Mother dearest, how nice of you to visit. How long has it been? A year? Longer? I lose track. Show yourself, Hodor. Light a torch already. A torch would do you no good. This is a little talent of mine. I call it my shield of darkness. I have become one with the dark. I can hide myself from the light. Fascinating. There used to be a window around here somewhere. Believe it or not, I don't use it much. Why have a window anyway? So I could enjoy the view. I see your attitude hasn't improved much. Stumbling through the darkness, Frigga located a window and tore the covering from it. Light poured in, revealing the white, sickly shape of Hodor. His pallid features were like a mockery of Baldur's. There you are. I've come here to tell you that your brother wishes you to attend a celebration in his honor tomorrow. Brother Baldur, darling brother Baldur, how is the favorite son? He's fine, and he wants you there tomorrow at his birthday. I mean, celebration. Yes, I know it's not his birthday or mine either. Not that anyone is interested. Try to show a little gratitude. Your brother invited you to his party. If it were up to me, I would have left you here. Spoken like a true mother. Hodor held out his pale hand. Well, if I must attend, you'll have to leave me. The day of Baldur's celebration dawned. Creatures from throughout the world tree came to shower praises and love upon the guest of honor. Even friendly giants and dwarves came for the festivities. Baldur, dressed in his finest robes, sat proudly beside his newly wed wife, the goddess Nanna. He had also insisted that Hodor have a special seat next to his, but his pale twin slumped in his seat with a scowl upon his face. How I've missed you, brother. What have you been up to? Breathing, sitting alone in the darkness, waiting for someone to visit me. By the way, it's been a while since you've bothered to visit me. A look of pain crossed Baldur's face. On my last visit, you said that you never wanted to hear from me again. I was just respecting your wishes. Yes, but here we are now. Pardon me if I'm not up for small talk. Point me toward the food, will you? Hodor, do not let hatred and jealousy cloud your mind. Jealousy? Ha! Jealousy of what? Your privileged life? Your pampering? Your life is a joke. Your existence is a fantasy world. Who could be jealous of that? He sneered at his twin and hobbled into the crowd, grasping his way blindly and barking roughly at any who got in his way. I cannot believe that creature is your brother. He is hurt more deeply than we can ever know. But I will not let him ruin this special occasion that Mother has prepared for me. Oh, here she comes now. Frigga made her way up to the seats of honor and turned to address the great gathering of guests. A horn was sounded. All the revelers turned their attention toward the platform where the queen now stood. Giants, dwarfs, elves, gods, men, I've invited you all here today in peace to rejoice with us. Huzzah! My son has rendered safe from any harm in this world. Rise, Baldur. Baldur was presented, and the crowd cheered. To show the magical power of all your oaths, let me be the first to raise my hand against him. Frigga held up a bow and a single arrow. Pacing back 10 steps from her son, she tensed the string and knocked the arrow into its place. Behold! The arrow twanged loose and shot straight to its target. Balder flinched instinctively, but the arrow only shattered against his chest. That tickled. Huzzah! Huzzah! The crowd erupted into cheers and beat upon the tables with their fists pounding. Nothing can harm Balder. Now come, rejoice with us. Join in our game of triumph. Many of the guests came forth to try their hand at harming Balder. An enormous ring was formed around the god, and the most beloved laughed good-naturedly at the spectacle. The giants came first with their iron clubs and stone swords. They swung their weapons with all their might, but they too only shattered against the protected skin of Balder. I'm sorry, my friends. Iron and stone have sworn not to harm me either. Then the giants beat at him with their bare fists. They hammered their massive feet upon him with all their might, but each time they rebounded off an invincible barrier, and the god remained unharmed. It's a good thing that Balder is a peaceful god, because now he's completely invincible. Next, the dwarves came forward, swinging axes forged with mighty spells. They hacked at Balder's ankles, but their axe heads broke away. Not even magic can fortify a weapon enough to harm him. Boulders, trees, and other projectiles were called for, and in the merriment reached an all-time high. With each failed attempt to harm her son, Frigga's eyes shone more and more. She looked triumphantly to Odin, who was sitting gloomily at his feasting table. Clever Frigga, but you cannot outwit fate. Of all the guests there that day, there was only one who had not been invited. It was an old crone named Groa, or at least that's how she appeared. On the inside, Groa was Loki, the dreaded trickster. After Loki had been expelled from Asgard, he had spent every moment plotting the best way to wound the Aesir the most deeply. Here at this celebration, he smelled a chance to do so. In his disguise, he made his way through the crowd until he stood at Frigga's side. My stars, look at what they're doing to that poor boy. I've never seen a stoning before. Oh, old woman, you're mistaken. This is a game we're playing. Nothing can harm my son Balder. What a strange game. What if he gets hurt? Didn't you hear me? Everything in the world has promised not to harm him. Wait a minute. Didn't you promise? Of course, of course. A nice young man came to my hut and asked me to promise. Didn't know why. So I thought I would come here and see what all the fuss is about. But are you sure everything has promised not to harm him? I mean, everything in all the 9 worlds? Yes. Now, leave me alone. I mean, if I were you, I'd be worried I forgot something. I missed something, you know. If you must know, there is one thing that did not promise. A patch of mistletoe growing on the trees by the gates. That couldn't possibly harm him, so leave me be. Oh, my. Who is that pale gentleman over there? He looks like he was raised in a cave. That is Hodor, my other son. Odor, you say. What a strange thing to name a child. Holder. Oh, did he make your promise? You really are the most infuriating person I've ever met. Of course he did not promise. He never comes out of his hall. He's only here because Balder invited him. Now leave me alone. Fine, fine. Loki could barely contain his excitement, and all the ingredients for disaster were at his fingertips. He spied Hoder making his way out into the gloom of the evening. Who's there? Just an old woman. Why aren't you joining in all the fun? Old woman, I'm not joining in the fun. Because my brother, they are joining in there. My twin brother, in fact. Twin? But he's so handsome. And you, well, you don't have to say it. I know. I would certainly throw something at him if I thought it would harm him, but he deserves to be hurt. He's always been my mother's pet. His whole life, he's had everything handed to him. Stay right there, Sonny. Groa Loki made his way to a nearby tree. Some mistletoe was growing there upon it. He plucked it loose and returned to Hoder. Look here. Here's some mistletoe. Look, old lady, I'm not in the mood for romance right now. Look, stupid. I'm an enchantress. I will fashion a spear from this plant with my powers. Then you can join in on the fun. Fun? The spear will bounce off him like everything else. Yes, but it will make you feel better. You could release some of that aggression, hatred that's been brewing inside of you these many years. Perhaps it would help. Make your spear, old woman. I will enchant it so it will always strike its target. Your blankness will not hinder your aim. Fine. After I throw the spear, I'll go back to my hall. This has been enough fun for one day. Loki began to mumble incantations, and the mistletoe twisted and formed itself into a long spike. The tip of it was deadly pointed. He placed it into the blind grip of Hoder. In that moment, Loki's disguise faded away, and his voice regained its true nature. Here's your spear. Now let your hatred guide you. Find Balder and throw your weapon, and let the Aesir weep. Huh? What was that? But Loki had disappeared back into the darkness. Hoder made his way back into the festivities and pushed himself to the forefront of the ring around Balder. Those gathered around cheered to see another participant. Hoder, what are you doing with that spear? Brother, I'm so glad to see you've decided to join the fun. Hoder took the mistletoe spear into his throwing hand and stepped forward. All right, let me have it. Gladly. The blind god hurled the spear. The spike cut through the air, and Balder flinched, anticipating a tickling sensation. But when the spear hit, it did more than tickle. It penetrated. They gasped in horror at the spear sticking from Balder's chest. I'm struck. With a confused look on his weepy eyes, Balder fell to the ground. No! Balder! What has happened? What's going on? Odin rushed forward and knelt by Balder's side. He's dead. Dead! The hall erupted into chaos. Frigga fell upon the dead body of Balder, weeping uncontrollably. My baby! My son! Thor grabbed Hoder and held him before the Allfather. Here! This pale lad is the one who threw the spear! Hoder, this heinous act, the worst that has ever been committed here at Asgard. You are forever banished. All of the gods have sworn not to harm one another, so we cannot punish you ourselves. But an avenger will come for you some day. Now go and never come back. Hoder, his whole body trembling, stumbled through the crowd. All of the gods began to talk at once, lamenting, accusing, and wondering what the next course of action would be. Tyr knelt to examine the murder weapon. This is a mistletoe spear, father. Mistletoe? Mistletoe did not promise. My son, my beloved son. Thor, take Frigga to her chambers. But how could Hodor have known about the mistletoe? I do not know, but I sense Loki in this somehow. He found the way to wound us the most deeply, and he used Hodor as his weapon. Even so, all this can still be undone. Hermod! Hermod! The servant appeared before the Allfather. Take Sleipnir and go to Niflheim at once. Find the Hall of Hela and tell her to release Baldur back to us. A ghoulish laughter filled the air, and the hall of the gods grew dark. A blue mist rose from the corpse of Baldur, and in its light a grisly face appeared. One half of the face was a woman's. The other half belonged to a corpse, oozing with rotted flesh. Hela, you witch! How dare you take one of the Asgard guards down into your realm? Oh no, then you send him to me, and now he is mine forever. That is how it works, isn't it? I receive the dead and keep them down here in Niflheim. No god should ever reside in your kingdom, Hela. We are deathless. Those were once the rules, but the rules have apparently changed, haven't they? Then, Hela, we must ask you humbly to please release Baldur to us. Ha 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 ha! I love it. The Lord of Asgard begs. Father Loki told me this day would come. Fine. I will release Baldur on one condition. Speak. If everything in creation will cry a tear for Baldur, I shall release him. But mind you, even if one thing does not comply, Baldur is mine to keep forever. He's such a wonderful company. I would hate to lose him. Ah! If we agree to your terms, all things shall we till for Baldur. We shall see. We see. Now, you excuse me. You are distracting me from my newly arrived guest. I must make him feel at home. He will be here for eternity after all. Her foul cackle rose in the air, and the blue mist vanished as quickly as it had come. Spoken like a true daughter of Loki. Asir, you have heard her commands. Bottle up your grief. We have a job to do. Go throughout every world. All must cry a tear for Balder or face the consequences. When this is done, he shall be returned to us. So the gods went throughout the 9 worlds, beseeching all things to cry a tear for Balder. The god was beloved of all creation, and all shed a tear when they heard of his death. Iron cried a tear, fire wept, even cold ice melted a bit around the edges. After days of traveling, one-handed Tyr came to a broken down hut high in the mountains of Jotunheim. He knocked rapidly on the door, and when there was no answer, he pushed himself inside. An old hag was rocking by the fire. It was Groa, the enchantress, but deeper, it was Loki. Barging in on an old woman, eh? Old hag, Balder is dead. He has been slain. All the world must cry a tear for him, and he will return to life. Will you shed a tear? Groa sucked thoughtfully upon her one tooth. And if I do not? That would mean you have no heart. Balder loved everyone and did no wrong all the days of his life. Did I say he's a fool and deserves to die? I'll cry no tears for him. What? All the world weeps for him, and you will not? Why? I delight in his death. How could you? He was beloved by everything upon the earth. Not everything, you fool. The old hag's body began to melt and shift and shrank down into the form of a crow. Ah! Ah! Loki should have known. Tyr slashed at the bird with his feeble left hand, but his blow missed, and the crow flew from the hut, crying as it went. Let Hela keep what she holds. Let Kala keep what she holds. In despair, Tyr watched the bird's flight. Loki has succeeded in his plans. Broken-hearted, the god returned to Asgard to report what he had seen. Father, all is lost. Balder must stay below, among the frozen dead. Boy, what has happened? I happened upon Loki, and he would not cry a tear. And it was Loki. Loki was behind all of this. We have truly been defeated. Begin the lament for my son. The same creatures who had gathered for Balder's celebration now remained for his funeral. They made their way down to the seashore to pay their last respects to the most beloved of the gods. The body of Balder was laid inside a magnificent ship, his possessions piled around him. But a group of unexpected visitors sent a murmur among the crowd. Look, father! A group of fierce giants had arrived. They were led by a savage she-giant who rode upon an enormous wolf. She used 2 twisted snakes for the wolf's reins. How dare they interrupt this solemn occasion? What are you doing here, giant scum? The she-giant hissed, baring her fangs. Quiet, fool. Thor's our enemy and always will be. But Balder was a friend to the frost giants. We come to mourn for him. Then you are welcome. The giants took their place among the mourners. One by one, the gods placed mighty treasures within the burial ship. Frigga wept uncontrollably over her son, and Nanna too. Finally, Odin leaned down and whispered his last words into the ear of Balder. No one knows what these words were, but they were the greatest words ever spoken. He removed the golden ring from his arm, the famous Draupnir, and laid it beside the body of his son. Now he is ready to sail. The torches were brought forward, but before the ship could be kindled, Nanna cried out in one final burst of grief. Ah! She collapsed, and when they raised her, she too was dead. Odin, can we bear much more? Her grief has killed her. Lay her beside her husband. It is only fitting. They laid them side by side within the craft. As the torches kindled the burial ship, even the giants wept. Balder the beautiful is dead. Balder the beautiful is dead. Odin approached the mighty giantess. I give you honor. Please send my son on his way. The she-giant came forward and pushed the burning ship out onto the sea. The spectators wept as flames consumed it. Thor, angrily wiping the tears from his eyes, turned to a thoughtful father. We can't let Loki get away with this. No, we cannot. He has taken from us what we loved most, just as he said he would. He must be punished. I will smash his skull with my hammer. I will squeeze the life from him with these two hands. But we have sworn an oath, and so has he, never to slay the other. And he cannot be punished. No, there are punishments much worse than death, and these we will use. Using his magical sky shoes, Loki had fled far indeed. He had found passage through the sky into Muspelheim, the land of fire, where Surt, the fire giant, and all of his brethren burn in outer darkness. Loki communed with them, telling them to await the day of Ragnarok, when they would split the sky wide open and have their revenge upon the gods. But after many months, he returned from that world to further his schemes. Loki hid himself at the very edge of the world, in a hut with a door on each wall, so that he could easily escape. He knew the gods would be coming for him, and he knew no sleep. Indeed, Odin had spied Loki from his far-seeing throne, and the gods made their move. Loki sat in the midst of his hut, his eyes twitching from one door to another. He heard a twig snap outside in the darkness. Fools, I hear ya, I hear ya. He darted forth from his hideout, running as swiftly as he could down the steep bank to the nearby river. Try catching me now! He leapt into the air, transforming into a salmon before he hit the water. There he lay in the shallows, waiting with ragged breaths. Lost him. A glowing light appeared above the water's surface. It was the light of Mjolnir. No, no. A net came down into the water, trapping Loki within it. The trickster was hoisted from the river. Looks like Thor's made quite a catch. Ha ha. No, no. Ah, Loki. Cunning disguise, but one we anticipated. Really should try a little more variety. Played right into our hands. Loki returned to his true form and raged against the gods, shouting curses and threats. His captors carried him to a nearby cave. I don't care what you do to me. I'll never bring Balder back. I'll never cry a tear for that fool. Pity that you cannot cry for Balder, for he is the only one among us who ever felt pity for you. Down, down, down they took him, to the deepest bowels of the earth. There, in the darkness, Tyr pulled forth a mighty chain, one as strong and everlasting as the chain that had been made to bind Fenrir. The dwarves special made this for you, Loki, just your size. Tyr and Thor bound the writhing trickster to a rock with the magical chain. No matter how he transformed, he'd never be able to escape its spell. Now, you will be chained here for eternity. That's when you're wrong. I will break loose. I'll be back, and when I'm free, you'll pay. You will pay. Let's kill him. Get our oaths. If we kill him now, we will be no better than him. We will do as Balder would do. We will show him pity. Besides, I think that pity is the most painful thing an evil creature such as Loki. Release me! Release me! But his wolf child took my hand, Allfather. I will never fight as I did before. Can't his punishment be greater? Very well. Make it as gruesome as you wish, but you may not take his life. Thank you. Thor and I leave you to this. Farewell, Loki. I hate you. I hate you all. Balder was just the first. Ragnarok will come and death will claim you all. You will die. Die! Until that day, Loki. Farewell. Once Thor and Odin had departed, Tyr approached the chained Loki menacingly. So, we're finally alone. Tyr uncovered the stump that had once been his sword hand. Recognize this? The wolf's son did this to me. Do your worst. I won't change anything. Gladly. Tyr found a viper in one of the crevices of the cavern. A green, poisonous acid dripped from its sharp fangs. The one-handed god chained this serpent to the top of the rock that held Loki. Now I have my revenge. As the snake hissed, the searing venom fell from its mouth and burned into the trickster's face like an acid. Loki howled and lurched against his bonds. Ah! The entire cavern shook with his cries. Now as the venom drips down, you'll feel the same pain that I've felt day after day. This is not the end. Do you hear me? This is not the end. Loki was left to his fate. In pity, his wife Siguna searched for him, wandering until she finally heard his subterranean cries. Trying to ease his suffering, she held a bowl to catch the venom of the tormenting serpent, but she could never catch every drop. And when she turned away to empty her bowl, a bit would fall upon her husband's face, and he would spasm and curse, causing the whole earth to shake. So was the punishment of Loki. chained in the depths of the earth until the day of Ragnarok, when he will be released. Then, with the help of his foul children and giant brethren, he will bring final destruction upon the gods of Asgard. As Odin and Thor journeyed back to Valhalla, the thunder god timidly addressed his father. Father, I have one question. Yes, Thor. What words did you whisper in Baldur's ear? Ah, cannot tell you, Thor. Those words were for Baldur only. Oh. But I can tell you this. They were words of hope. Is Loki right? Will we all one day die? Seems strange to say that. Yes, I'm afraid we must. A faraway look came into the All-Father's eye. The world tree will burn. All will be destroyed. Why should we fight? Why continue the struggle? For what good that can still be done? What Loki does not know is that a new world will be born from the ashes of the old. A man and a woman, miraculously preserved, will emerge, and mankind will continue. Baldur will rise from Niflheim to rule over a new creation. It'll be a better world, a brighter world. Thor furrowed his brow and then smiled. Well, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound so bad. The All-Father smiled sadly. No, not bad at all.